How dangerous are cyber attacks? Cyber attacks don't happen in a vacuum. They strike where technology, people, and motives intersect. The consequences extend far beyond a temporary outage or stolen file. IBM's 2025 cost of a data breach report puts the global average breach at USD 4.44 million, a figure that spans detection, incident response, downtime, lost revenue, and lasting brand damage. Some incidents are far more expensive. In March 2024, one victim paid USD 75 million in a single ransomware attack, while business email compromise (BEC) scams drained USD 2.77 billion from organizations in 2024 alone, across 21,042 reported incidents. Analysts project the global annual cost of cybercrime will rise from roughly USD 9.2 trillion in 2024 to about USD 13.8 trillion by 2028. To fully grasp the significance of cyber attacks, it's important to examine them from three dimensions. Who launches an attack? What attackers target? Why attackers strike? Who launches an attack? Cyber attacks originate from a wide spectrum of malicious actors, both external and internal. External attackers vary greatly. Organized cybercriminal groups may look for profit through ransomware campaigns or by selling stolen data on the dark web. Some are professional hackers who specialize in gaining access to compromised systems. At the nation-state level, state-sponsored actors conduct long-term campaigns of cyber warfare and espionage against rival governments and corporations. And then there are hacktivists, who break into systems to draw attention to a political or social cause rather than for direct financial gain. Insider threats present a different but equally serious risk. Disgruntled employees may deliberately exfiltrate sensitive data or sabotage systems to exact revenge. Others are simply careless. A user who stores customer data in an unsecured drive can inadvertently create the same opening that a hostile actor would exploit. Only when an insider intentionally misuses authorized access does that qualify as a true cyber attack. But even negligence can provide the first foothold for an external adversary. What attackers target? Attackers break into systems because every asset, whether it's intellectual property or personal data, has clear value. Common targets include financial assets, which includes bank accounts, payment systems, cryptocurrency wallets, credit card numbers, and login credentials that enable direct theft or resale. Data and intellectual property, which encompasses customer data, product designs, proprietary research, and personally identifiable information, PII, for identity theft or dark web resale. Critical infrastructure and government systems, which spans energy grids, healthcare systems, and government agencies, disrupting essential information systems and public services. Why attackers strike? Perhaps the hardest question to answer is why attackers strike. Motives can range from profit to politics to personal grievance, and any single breach can involve more than one of these forces. Yet most activity clusters around three broad drivers: criminal, political, or personal. Criminal motivation remains the most common. Some actors are after straightforward financial gain, breaking into systems to launch ransomware attacks or run large-scale phishing campaigns. Others focus on extortion, using DDoS attacks to hold networks hostage until a ransom is paid. Politics also fuel a significant slice of cyber activity. State-sponsored campaigns and long-term cyber espionage operations routinely probe critical infrastructure, government networks, and even election systems. Alongside these nation-state efforts are hacktivists, individuals or loose collectives who infiltrate networks to spotlight a cause or embarrass an adversary. Personal motives, though harder to predict, can be just as destructive. A dismayed contractor or business partner may deliberately release sensitive data or sabotage systems to settle a score. And sometimes the impetus is little more than curiosity or ego. So-called sport hackers break in simply for the challenge of proving they can. Types of cyber attacks. Cyber criminals use many sophisticated tools and techniques to compromise systems. Tactics evolve constantly, but can be grouped into three broad tiers: pervasive, advanced, and emerging cyber threats. Pervasive attacks. These techniques are the workhorses of cybercrime. They scale across industries, exploit human weaknesses, and rarely require nation-state resources. Because they're so common and so effective, they form the backbone of most cybersecurity incidents. Malware is malicious software that can render infected systems inoperable. It can destroy data, steal information, or wipe files critical to the operating system's ability to run. Common types of malware include Trojan horses. These are attacks masquerade as legitimate programs to trick users into installation. A remote access Trojan, RAT, opens a secret backdoor on the victim's device, while a dropper Trojan installs additional malware after gaining a foothold. Ransomware uses strong encryption to hold data or systems hostage until a ransom is paid. Scareware bombards victims with fake warnings to induce downloads or the surrender of sensitive information. Spyware secretly collects usernames, passwords, and credit card numbers, sending them back to the attacker. Rootkits grants administrator-level control of an operating system while remaining hidden. Self-replicating worms spread automatically between applications and devices. Social engineering attacks exploit human trust rather than technical flaws, persuading people to reveal information or even install malware. The most common example is phishing, where emails, texts, or social media messages mimic legitimate requests and lure victims into clicking malicious links or opening infected attachments. More targeted variants include spear phishing, which tailors the attack to a specific individual using details from public social profiles. Whale phishing is a version aimed at senior executives, while Beck scams impersonate trusted individuals like a CEO, tricking employees into wiring funds or sharing confidential data. Denial of service attacks and distributed denial of service, DDoS, attacks flood a system's resources with fraudulent traffic until it can't respond to legitimate requests. A DDoS attack originates from a single source, while a DDoS attack uses multiple sources, often a botnet of malware-infected laptops, smartphones, and Internet of Things, IoT devices. Account compromise. In an account compromise attack, criminals hijack a legitimate user's credentials to conduct malicious activity. They may phish for passwords, purchase stolen databases on the dark web, or launch automated brute force attacks to repetitively guess passwords until one works. Man-in-the-middle attacks, MITM, also called eavesdropping attacks. MITM attacks occur when a hacker secretly intercepts communications between two parties, often over unsecured public Wi-Fi. Attackers can read or modify messages before they reach the recipient. For instance, in a session hijacking variant, the intruder swaps their IP address with the victim's, fooling the server into granting full access to protected resources. Advanced attacks. More patient adversaries carry out campaigns through skill, stealth, and persistence. These tactics often combine multiple attack vectors, from covert human operators to armies of automated bots, and can unfold over months, making early detection essential. Supply chain attacks. Attackers breach a company by targeting its software vendors, material suppliers, or other service providers. Because vendors are frequently connected to their customers' networks, a single compromise can provide an attacker with an indirect path into many organizations. Cross-site scripting, XSS attacks, insert malicious code into a legitimate web page or web application. When a user visits the site or app, the code automatically runs in the user's browser, stealing sensitive information or redirecting the visitor to a malicious website. Attackers frequently use JavaScript to launch these exploits. SQL injection attacks send malicious structured query language, SQL commands, to the backend database of a website or application. Attackers input the commands through user-facing fields such as search bars and login windows, prompting the database to return private data like credit card numbers or other customer data. DNS Tunneling Domain Name System, DNS. Tunneling hides malicious traffic inside DNS packets, allowing it to bypass traditional security measures such as firewalls and intrusion detection systems, IDS. Threat actors use this technique to create covert communication channels that can silently extract data or connect malware to a remote command and control C2 server. Zero-day exploits take advantage of previously unknown or unpatched software flaws known as zero-day vulnerabilities, before developers can release a fix. These attacks can remain effective for days, months, or even years, making them a favorite of advanced threat groups. Fileless attacks use vulnerabilities in legitimate software programs to inject malicious code directly into a computer's memory. Because they operate only in memory and leave few artifacts on disk, they can evade many antivirus software solutions, even some next-generation antivirus (NGAV) tools. Attackers often leverage scripting environments like PowerShell to change configurations or steal passwords. DNS spoofing. Also called DNS poisoning, DNS spoofing covertly alters DNS records to replace a website's real IP address with a fraudulent one. When victims attempt to visit the legitimate site, they are unknowingly redirected to a malicious copy that can steal data or distribute malware. In the next video, we will be discussing about emerging cyber threats. Stay connected to learn more.